I'd worked with Boom Bip previously on a single called The Do's and the Don'ts, and he's also remixed Super Furry Animals songs in the past. I was approached if I'd be interested to make a whole album, but with a very specific brief that it would have to be something completely different to anything from the Boom Bip or Super Furry Animals back catalogue. So we got together for 2 or 3 weeks. We set up a studio in a house and kind of demoed the songs and wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
With always keeping in mind that if we went into some kind of comfortable area musically, or made any beautiful music,
back away from it.
Or if it sounded like two guys jamming in the room, we'd delete that song, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't think we fully wrapped our brains around it until it was happening, you know. I mean, it was unexpected for us, you know. I mean, as we were sitting there, sort of coming up with these songs and these these melodies and stuff, you know, we would just kind of laugh about it, like, wow, yeah, let's do that, you know. And then, you know, there were a lot of moments where it was like just diving into like guilty pleasures, the stuff you've always wanted to do. I mean, there are a lot of, you know, like tom sounds and synth sounds on the record that I would never put on a Boom Bip record. We were trying to really be on that fence the whole time, to where, you know, we didn't want it to be a novelty record or like a novelty act. You know, we wanted it, you know, obviously there was a bit of sense of humor in there, but we also wanted, you know, heart behind the tracks and, you know, behind the project. So that's what became the most challenging and difficult part about fine-tuning the tracks, to make sure that we don't completely disconnect with the audience, that we keep people in that still appreciate the Super Furry stuff and Griff solo stuff and then my stuff, that we could still have them as listeners, but yet tell the story of this guy and really capture sort of bits and pieces of different eras of music, and, you know.
a guy called Will who works for Lex Records, and he has a fascination with the 1980s, which that's an understatement, and his house is full of Casio keyboards and glossy books about cars and things. And so whilst we were recording, we were reading through all these books, and Brian had been playing me a lot of his beats and music for me to possibly write to, and my favourite pieces were very glossy sounding, and when I was looking at pictures of cars, they kind of correlated somehow, and so they were like a sonic equivalent of a DeLorean design, but that led us down a whole path where we got completely obsessed with John DeLorean, and the interesting things about him and the awful things about him, and it seemed like some kind of Greek tragedy, and it was very inspiring to write songs about aspects of his life, and
the music too. I mean, because as Griff was doing a lot of research on his life, and I was sort of, you know, for the lyrics, and then I was sort of working on the music like separately, and the stuff that I kept bringing to Griff was kind of all over the place, you know, like some stuff was like really grimy, beat heavy, and other stuff was really synthy poppy, and as we started putting things into perspective, like, oh hey, if we're going to focus on this guy's life, there are tons of highs and lows, in his life, and this could really read out like an audio film, to where these different tracks will help tell the story of certain aspects that Griff wanted to write about in his life. For the most part, I knew about it was the car used in Back to the Future.
It's like the only thing people know. Like, think about the DeLorean, right?
And then years later, like I heard about the cocaine bust. Everybody knew about the cocaine bust. And so I knew he was like this guy busted for coke, and the car in Back to the Future was really it. Nothing about like him as like a hustler and swindling all this money from celebrities and governments, and Yeah, I mean, I was sort of at the height. I was 10 years old in '84, and that seemed 84 to me seemed like it was the year where, at least for me, as a kid, I felt like everyone was really obsessed with the future during that time. And if you look at like new wave bands and everything, I mean, everybody was like from the future. Like lasers were big, and kids were playing laser tag, and the car, the DeLorean, looked like a spaceship, and there were television programs in America like V, and remember V? Yeah, like this alien reptilian race, and it just seemed like this year where the idea of the future was just media and just everything around us was sort of obsessed with this idea. And my personal theory is I think that might have been the year that people realized the year 2000 is not too far off, like 16 years away, and there was this sort of paranoia about what it's going to be like, and like the future is going to be in 2000, like people are going to be, cars are going to fly, and so because I think even in Back to the Future, he only fast forwarded to like 2010 or something, right? And he comes back and he's wearing like aluminum foil or something, you know what I mean? So we're only 2 years out from that.